Good evening. We're with the International Dyslexia Association Oregon branch, and we're going to be joined by Krista Weltner. Krista is a author, illustrator. She does stop motion. So super excited to talk to her about her story. She joined us for the Arts and Minds event that we had in May in a collaboration of different artists. So super excited for you all to meet her and get to hear from her. Please drop us a line tonight if you have questions, or you can feel free to email us at the branch if that is easier. But we're here to support. Also, a reminder, we have our Dyslexia Professional Network going on. So if you'd like to be part of that, you can contact us, and we'd be happy to get involved in that as well. So Chris is going to be joining us here shortly.
Oh my gosh, I did
No, you did.
it. I've never been live before.
Hey, first time for everything. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah. How have you been?
I've been good. How are you doing?
Good.
Well, I did a quick intro for you, just talking about how you're an author, an illustrator, stop motion graphic uh, designer. I feel like it might be easier for the audience just to say the things you don't do, because it seems like you just do so much.
Yeah, I really cannot choose, right? I like to bounce around and do a lot of different things.
Well, I was
But
wondering. Okay, I know you joined us for Arts and Minds, but I was wondering if you could maybe just like talk a little bit about where your journey began with dyslexia, and then I want to get into some of the creations that you've done.
yeah, sure. Well, I found out I was dyslexic when I was 7. So it's I feel fortunate that I found out kind of early for that time because it was 1997, and I think that a lot of people were going undiagnosed, at least more than now. Um, I was diagnosed when I was 7, and I had like a individual education plan all through elementary school. And so I worked with tutors outside of school, and I worked in school and had like I don't know what it's called now, but it's like when you separate certain kids and you have them like individual attention for a bit
Yeah.
of the day. I had that, and then when I got to junior high and high school, I had the option to be retested because some people might not know, but a lot of times at different levels of school, you have to get retested,
Yeah.
just to just to remain in the system. And my mom kind of talked to me about it, and she's like, "Well, you're doing okay. Like, do you think you want to be tested? Like, what do you think?" And at the time, like, I said I didn't want to be tested, and I wasn't tested, and I didn't have an individual plan or anything for junior high and high school, and I did okay. you know, we struggled, but I wasn't drowning. But looking back, I wonder like why I was making that decision, and I think I just didn't want to feel abnormal. I think I was really feeling that pressure to assimilate and be normal or something, and I had even though I couldn't like vocalize all of that, I think that's probably what I was feeling at that time. And I remember my mom telling me something. She was like, I think she was trying to encourage me to get tested, but she didn't want to like make the choice for me.
Sure.
And so she was kind of saying, well, if I don't know if this is an appropriate example, but this is what my mom said at the time. She said, if somebody's in a wheelchair, you're not you're going to expect that they're going to need certain things to help them out and to give them the best like quality of life and all this. And she's like, you have the same, you have a disability, it's just inside of you. So she was like kind of trying to explain it in that way.
Sure.
um, but I still, yeah, I wasn't tested. I was too adamant not to be tested. And then I got to college, and I think it was like the second year, and I hit a wall, and I absolutely had a panic attack in a Spanish class, and I thought, okay, we gotta get this sorted, you know. And I got retested at that time, and I got accommodations in college, and um, yeah, what happened there? What was cool about it was my accommodations in college allowed me not to take Spanish, which was like the big, or not to take a foreign language, which that was the big hurdle for me.
Sure.
Um, but I got to take some other like really cool cultural classes and history classes like as substitutes. And they were like some of my favorite classes that were outside my major. Like I got to take this really cool class about Egyptian anthropology, and another one about it was like multicultural understandings or something. And yeah. And then, you know, I went to grad school because I just, you know, I can't get away from learning. Even though even though I struggled, I still love it. And I went to grad school for puppetry, and by the way, I went to undergrad for costume design, so I just bounce around. And my thesis project in grad school was a short film, which was inspired by my whole dyslexia experience. And I just made this thing from my heart, and I wasn't really thinking what I wanted to do with the film afterwards, but since leaving school, it has afforded me all these like wonderful opportunities to just like engage with kids and to help out the dyslexia community, and just to like give a voice to the voiceless, you know, because little kids can't, like myself in seventh grade, I couldn't quite vocalize what was going on, you know.
Well, and that's something that's really special about you too, is and something I didn't mention at the beginning is all the dyslexia advocacy that you do and all the support that you are giving this community, and just you're giving heart to it, which is amazing. I I want to go back before your journey is amazing because you get through your master's program and you found this way to the top of the educational like experience getting a master's degree. But what was it like when you were kind of being not normalized in the school process? Like, what was that? I know might have been hard to articulate what was going on back then, but could you look back now and kind of maybe give an analysis of what was going on through your head?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of if anyone's on here, if you go see my film, you'll see a lot of correlation between what I'm going to talk about right now. I realized just very early on just how different I was and how different I felt inside. And sitting in a classroom of your peers that clearly everyone around you is getting it and is understanding something, it's like impossible not to feel stupid, quite frankly. Even though, of course, you're not. And it's what's really cool about dyslexic people is that we are actually like have normal intelligence or above normal. We're really, really smart, actually. Yep, you too. Yep. And it's difficult when you have that experience and you don't feel smart. The world doesn't treat you like you're smart, but you have all this stuff going on inside, and you're really creative and you're really excited about learning, but then you do your homework and you work really, really hard, and then you get back your grades or whatever, and it doesn't compute with how you feel and how you are engaging with the work. And I did a lot of things to fool my teachers, you know, like I would avoid reading, and we had these computer tests where you would like read a book in your reading level and then take a 10-minute like quiz to make sure that you read that book, because we were all reading different books. And I would look at the cover, the art on the cover, and I would like look at the titles of all the chapters and read the back of the book, and I would read like the first paragraph of every chapter, like, and to get the gist. And I would come out with like 9 and 10 scores. This was like kind of flying under the radar a lot of the time. And I used to pretend to read. Like I didn't want anyone to notice how slow I was reading. So I would sit there with my book and I would like look around and I would see my friend Meredith, her name was Meredith. I would see her like flipping her page of her book and I would like flip it as soon as she did. Because I was so just isolated. I felt like everyone could see my internal experience, but of course they couldn't. Um, and I had kind of a like, I don't know, everybody has little traumatic experiences in school, but I had a substitute teacher that called me slow in front of the whole class.
Oh,
And she like, yeah, we had like say we would have like 20 spelling words, and this was, I know this was third grade. This was definitely third grade. We had like 20 spelling words, but I only had to learn 10. I would still like go for it. I would still be able to like do all 20, but my teacher would only grade me on the 10 that I was assigned.
nice.
So yeah, it was really good. It's really helpful to have that kind of thing for dyslexic kids, um, just to, I don't know, I don't know how to say it, but like hone it in a little bit. Like
Yeah.
only focus on these 10. Don't worry about these other 10.
Mm.
Um,
Well,
but anyways,
it allows you to get the process without being without like overextending your brain essentially. Like
yeah,
you're showing that you can get it, but you're not. Yeah, makes a
yeah,
ton.
and it's helping them to not be overwhelmed, you know. And anyway, so my teacher would I would like write all the spelling words down at the beginning of the week, and then I would like go quietly back to my teacher's desk, and she would like quietly circle the ones I would have to know, so that nobody would have to know. And the substitute teacher didn't understand that, and she didn't understand the instructions that my teacher left, I guess. And so she wrote all the words up on the board, and then she circled the 10 on the board. And then she turned around and she said, "Everybody copy these, but Krista Weltner, only copy those 10."
Yeah.
And then everybody, the class exploded, you know, everyone's like, "Why does she only have to learn 10? That's not fair, you know, why?" And the teacher was kind of on the spot and she just said, "Well, you know, Krista is just slower than the rest of you. So this is,
Oh,
you know," and I can forgive her. I really can because I know even back then, she was like, we had a really small school district, so we kind of knew the substitutes, and she was a retired teacher. So she wasn't like full-time teaching at that point. She was just subbing here and there. So she was older and like, I don't even know if she's still with us, you know, but I can forgive her. I just think it was maybe just a bad moment. Who knows? Maybe she
yeah.
regretted that moment and was put on the spot and regretted it to the end of her days. We
Well,
don't know.
yeah, and to your, I mean, it shows your heart that you have forgiveness for her, and hopefully it was not intentional, but the impact that that would have had on a student at that age,
Oh,
just
my dad's here. Hi, Dad. Sorry.
no,
I
that's
just know
great.
he's alive, so
Yeah, okay, I just caught the last name. I saw the first name, and now that makes sense. Hi, Dad. Hi.
sorry to
Um,
interrupt.
no, that's great. Well, okay, so then I have a question, and I want to introduce your film, Partially Compensated. I don't want to do the spoiler alert, but are you the main character? Is that you? Is that your experience?
I would say, yeah, she's definitely inspired by me. A lot of people ask if I had that happen with the teacher, like if that was an actual interaction.
Mm.
And it wasn't, but I had a lot of teachers along the way that were really special to me. So I like to think that that teacher is just kind of like a mush of all of them. And I did have teachers, I feel like I watched them learn to be more accepting. And I feel like I don't, I think you have this when you're a kid, especially you develop a little bit of a relationship with your teacher, like over the year. And yeah, that's kind of it. She is named Violet, which I named after this. I used to be a camp counselor like 10 years ago over the summer for college. I was a camp counselor. I named her after this little camper that I had that I just loved.
Um, so does the, can you give maybe the audience just like a quick, I don't want to give the plot away, but because I think everyone should watch it. It has that effect on you. I've seen it multiple times. It's one of those things I had to keep watching because it makes so much sense. But can you give the audience just a little bit of like a summary of what what the film is and how it came about.
Sure. Yeah, you can see it for free online, so feel free to go and check it out. We'll try to put a link up, I guess, or something. But
Definitely.
uh, it's a short film. It's a 10-minute stop motion animated film. So stop motion is a form of animation that physically exists. So like the things actually exist in real life, and you are going around and moving something and taking a photo, moving it and taking a photo. And um, I like to say that up front because some people jump in and they don't realize, oh, this is going to be stop motion. But I built most of those puppets, and I had help from some other students at my school that helped me with some of the armatures and with some of the furniture and such. But the story is about dyslexia, and it's completely there's music, but it's completely like nonverbal. Like there's no speaking or dialogue. I did that very intentionally because I wanted to draw the audience in, and it would have been complicated otherwise.
For
but
sure.
but it is, yeah, inspired by my own experience. And my goal of the project really was to show people how dyslexia feels, not to explain what it is, but just how it feels. Because I often think that the the emotions that are involved with having any kind of neurodivergence are kind of overlooked. I think that we focus so much on, well, it's trouble with reading and writing and spelling, and we need to help these kids learn how to read and write and spell. But there's a whole bundle of emotions going on inside of most of us that involve feeling isolated and anxious and not good enough, and all these things. So that's kind of what I wanted to put in my film, and I think it came across.
No, it definitely did. And we will drop a link for the audience to go check it out. But partially compensated is it does. It makes you feel that emotion, that being in the classroom, that turning the page, that looking at the neighbor and trying to emulate what's going on with maybe not fully understanding.
Oh, I will say there's a dream sequence. I'm going back to an earlier thing, but there's a dream sequence, and I did have a dream about this. So when I was
Oh,
first trying to think of ideas I knew I wanted to make a film, but I wasn't quite sure what the story was, and I did have a dream that I was inside of a hole, and the hole was made of books. I had that first image came to me like right before that school year had started.
okay. So that's really
So
cool.
it's like
That's a big part. Yeah,
yeah.
so it does incorporate your experiences on a personal level.
Hmm.
We have a question online, and I'm going to extend it too. It says, "How has dyslexia helped you with costume design and taking that a step further? How has it helped you with stop motion or your illustrations or being an author? Like, how does dyslexia play into your strengths as an overall artist?"
Well, I think number one, what's really cool is when you are dyslexic, you have um, your brain is trying to do so much, and you end up with these strengths that people might not realize would be a part of this, but you end up being a person who's very good at creative problem solving. Like there's a lot of studies that have been done about this, where dyslexics will come up with like I don't know how many more solutions than the average person to a problem. We're very good creative problem solvers, so that has been like number one. Um, but I'm also like a really holistic thinker, which is also can be a sign of dyslexia. And I really think of the big picture. And I think when I'm designing or working in any of these fields, like for instance, when I was doing costume design, I was always thinking of how does this, like I'm designing this costume for this character. How does this character fit in the play? And during fittings, I love to talk to actors and say, well, what's going on with your character? Like, because they're studying their character and they're developing who they are going to be on stage. And I would get so many ideas from just talking to them because there's a reason I picked out this shirt. There's a reason you wore that hat. Um, so
Totally.
yeah,
No,
I think that answers the question.
yeah, no, it does. I think it does in a big way in that you're when you do costume design, you're bringing that character to life and you're making that character like the character is even going to feel more like the character by how you're designing, how you're talking to that artist, how you're
Mhm.
interacting. So I think it's it's awesome work that you are doing and using your big picture thinking to make things come even more to life than they already are.
And I think the big picture thinking, especially for my film, was really beneficial in that I could um, just be really good at managing my time and my schedule. I think a lot of dyslexic people also like once you end up and you're like out of school, you have developed some pretty good time management skills. At least I don't know, at least some of us, just because you kind of have to, because like otherwise, how are you going to get everything done? Um, and yeah, I would use that to my advantage during my film, you know, and even like thinking about the design, like you'll see in my film that all the students are wearing little uniforms, like little costumed uniforms. That's because it was easier for me to make 20 of the same costume than it would have been to, I would have loved to give them all a separate costume, but that would have been, you know, a lot of intense time on my part.
For sure. You
It's like
need a
little
you need a
things
whole
like that where
production.
I can look at the
Yeah.
big picture. Sorry, go
Oh
ahead.
no, you're good. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna say you would need a whole production studio to like get that done. The
Yes.
because the work that I don't know how much people know about stop motion, but like the work that goes into it is so time intensive and like late. I mean, it is hard labor to get what you
Yeah,
do.
my hands are so strong. I know that sounds like weird to say, but I started. Do you know what like you know what bouldering is?
Yeah.
I recently started bouldering, and I felt like my hands were stronger, like from the start. Like then, you know, I feel like I was ahead of the game a little bit.
Oh,
And it's
completely.
weird, but I think it's from
If
all of my tiny pinching and making costumes and working like this close to my face, you know?
Oh, I would imagine you'd be a great boulder for all the work you're doing with your hands. Like your grips must be crazy strong.
Yeah, very.
It's awesome. Um, I had a question that came up for me as you were talking. What would you tell your younger self now?
Mm, sorry, I'm burping. I'm drinking a lot of
Uh,
water because it's so hot.
yeah, no,
Um,
good. Hydration is important right now. It's extremely important.
what would I tell my younger self? I would tell my younger self to invest in Netflix. Um, no, I think I would tell my younger self just not to worry so much. Just not to worry about so much about science and math or history or English.
Or
And, you know,
anything.
I would tell myself just to enjoy learning and
Nice.
not stress about the grades because I do really enjoy learning and reading and researching and all that. It's just when it comes to writing it all down and coming up with a paper.
Well, and I think that's really important, especially like with parents too on the line. I think we get so wrapped up in what our students might not be doing really well or might be struggling with. And it's not that we don't support them or give them resources to improve those things, but not to dwell on it so much that we lose sight of what you've identified as the bigger picture, right? The just the
Mhm.
process of learning and growing and developing, because those skill sets can either come along later or as technology advances, maybe those skill sets aren't as needed as they once were.
Absolutely. You nailed it.
Um, so I appreciate you taking the time on a Monday night, and I know how busy your schedule is. So I have two more questions for you. One is, can you talk about some of the upcoming projects that you have, or in a roundabout way, because I know you have probably uh, some secret sauce there that you can't reveal. So that, and then the other question I want you to start thinking about is, what's your message to the world? Like, what is your message about dyslexia and education and all the stuff that you've experienced? What would be your message to the world? But maybe take the
Hmm.
first question.
Yeah, I'll answer the first one and maybe the second one will come to me. Wait, what was the first question?
Yeah, no, the first one was just like upcoming projects, like stuff
Oh,
that you're,
okay. Yeah, well, I recently finished work on my first like movie that's gonna come out maybe next year from with Netflix.
nice.
I got to be a hair and fur fabricator, so I got to just focus on making little tiny wigs. and I just started work at Leica Studios. So like I have my day job, which is like my stop motion film work. Then I have my separate little short film, which is more my dyslexia advocacy work. And also in that vein, I've been developing some picture books. I have I have three picture books that are all about the same two characters, and they're both dyslexic, and it's super cute, and they're on my wall right here, all
Oh,
three of them. So I've been developing those. I don't have a publisher, and I'm looking for an agent right now. So I don't know when those will be coming, but I will not stop until at least one of them gets published. The one I'm really pushing out there right now is all about self-advocacy. It's about learning how to ask for help, because I felt like as a kid that was kind of really a big challenge for me. It's just raising my hand and saying I don't get it.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's definitely, we're going to drop a link to your film. How else can people follow you, get in touch with you, especially if we have any agents on the line that are looking for an amazing client? Like,
Yeah, hey, you
well,
never know, you're out there. You can follow me, Krista Weltner, one word, Instagram. That's like my art Instagram, public art Instagram. And then from there, I think I've got a link in my bio that takes you to like my Vimeo and my Etsy and my website and all of that. So I try to connect everything, but it seems like there's a lot of platforms happening right now. Um,
totally. Well, I just want to give you a quick plug before I have you answer that last question. But
yeah.
seriously, if there's someone on here that is a publisher or knows of a publisher or is an agent or knows of an agent, follow Krista Weltner, because there is an amazing artist right in front of us who is giving back to the dyslexia community, obviously producing some amazing work, working at some big time places. So let's support our dyslexic community by representing them with the best. So I'm putting that in the world. I think an agent should sign you today and get your stuff going because
We,
we need
yeah,
it.
we would love it. We would love it. I don't know who we is, but I guess me and my cat, who's right here.
Yeah, there you go.
I have this list of agents that is like crazy long. I've done so much research, and I'm just like, I'm no, I'm querying is what you call it. I'm just querying them one by one, and we'll just see.
All right, we'll keep our fingers crossed for you and wishing you all the best. So what? Let's get to it. What's your message to the world here?
To the world, to the world, what's my message to the world? Well, about dyslexia, I just want people to know that I don't know, that we're amazing. I just want them to know we're amazing.
That's perfect.
I don't know. It really stresses me out how many undiagnosed cases there are in the world, and I would say just to consider, just if a child's misbehaving, just to think about it a little bit more than what's on the surface. It might not be dyslexia, but there's definitely something going on. Um, I don't know. That's not a message to the world, though.
No,
I think
I think it is. I think that's really important, actually. I think that you hit some really key notes right there. You dropped a ton of gold nuggets for us
okay.
and this
Maybe you can
community.
edit
But no, but like being amazing or understanding the strengths of dyslexic people is huge for this community. And then I think you're right. Like the undiagnosed population, they need our support more than anyone because we don't know what's going on with them. So maybe
Yeah.
just more empathy and just giving people some patience and a second to breathe before we rush in for judgment.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I just want to thank you for taking the time. Again, I know how busy you are, so we really appreciate you stopping by, and we hope to have you on the show again. And just as you continue to develop and create, send links our way, and we'll make sure we publish it and post it out there to the
Yeah,
community.
same. And I hope to, continue doing stuff for the Oregon branch. You guys are awesome. You're doing amazing work, and it's going to be exciting. I know we have some stuff coming, and I'm excited.
Same, definitely. We'll keep in touch.
Cool. Thanks, Jared.
Have a great night.
See ya.